Well, good evening, good people. Mark Holmes here, and as always, I want to say thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. I hope everybody's had a great day. I've actually had a wonderful time. I've learned a whole lot about lime plastering, something that is truly a dying art. Went up to Lancaster, Pennsylvania, and met with this great guy, Jonathan, who is an expert in lime mortar, realizing that when you're working on something old, you got to deal with it the way that it was originally built. Using current materials and things on it aren't going to last, and the way things were done before are not the same way. It's actually literally, if you're drywalling, think about this. Drywall, if you put drywall outside and it gets wet, it's going to fall apart. Lime plastering is the exact opposite. The way lime works is the way it dries, it makes it adhere. So if you have dry brick and you put in the lime plaster on it and it goes on there, all the moisture gets sucked up into the brick and the plaster will fall off. Learn that kind of stuff today. So we're going to be trying to plaster the red brick house where the plaster is coming off and get it fixed. So that's going to be fun, to say the least. And I even found out something interesting too, because he's like, if you save the old plaster that came off of it, if you crunch it up, you can actually re-wet it and re-adhere it. And I'm like, really? Wow. Okay, didn't know that. So there's that. Anyway, we got that figured out. Today was an interesting day for 255 million reasons. Jalen Hurts got paid today by the Eagles. And the interesting thing is on it, the Eagles, I hate to say it, but the Eagles were very, very smart to get that deal done. The way they've structured it is they've really kicked the money down the road. I think his cap hit is only $6 million this year, $13 million next year. He's got a low cap number. And see, that's the opposite of what they did with Dak Prescott. They waited till Dak Prescott's contract was up, and then they had to franchise tag him where they're paying, $32 million, and then, the next year trying to get the deal done with no space to be able to spread that money out. This is where I literally have had a deja vu moment here. I remember when Kirk freaking Cousins, signed the first fully guaranteed contract in the history of the NFL at $28 million a year. And I said right then and there, the Cowboys need to hurry up and get Dak Prescott's deal done before some of the other guys start getting paid, like Russell Wilson, because the contract numbers will go up. And I believe I said that a couple weeks ago, that the Cowboys need to hurry up and get Dak Prescott's contract done. Because what's happened is now Daniel Jones has gotten paid, okay? Daniel Jones is now kind of the floor at $40 million, which is the same number that Dak Prescott has right now. That's kind of the floor. Now, I know that we've got revisionist history out here now where all of a sudden everybody's talking about how great Daniel Jones is. Guys, sorry. Daniel Jones ain't that great. He's not that great. You can believe that he is Joe Montana if you want to, but he's not Joe Montana, okay? He's Daniel Jones, a guy going into this past season having 50 TD passes and 49 turnovers. But be that as it may, apparently one good season makes you a great quarterback, and one season for Dak Prescott having turnovers makes him ass. But you do you. But here's the thing. As much as people, Cowboy haters, say just trade Dak and draft another quarterback, it's not that easy. It's not that easy. If you take a look at the Cowboys actually drafting quarterbacks and guys they've wanted to draft, it's actually not been that good. Dak has got his flaws, but Dak is not your problem of winning a Super Bowl. Because, see, what you have to understand is you got to be really good all over the place. I take and I look at the Cowboys of the 90s. Everybody want to give all the credit to Troy Aikman. But I want you to think about this for a second. Let me ask a real question. What was the weakness on the Dallas Cowboys offense during the 90s? Where was a weak spot on that offense? You got a Hall of Fame running back in Emmitt Smith, who didn't get hurt, or when he did get hurt, with a separated shoulder, still ran for like 200 yards. You had one of the best wide receivers in football in Michael Irvin. You had great role players like Alvin Harper at wide receiver. You had a security blanket in Jay Novacek. You had a fullback that was one of the best fullbacks in history in Moose Johnson. You had Troy Aikman, a Hall of Fame quarterback. You had some of the meanest, nastiest offensive linemen like Larry Allen, Hall of Famer, Gogan, Mark Sivnowski, the center, Nate Newton. You did not have a weak spot on the team, on that offense. And you had the number one defense. When you have that many players that are that good on your offense, it's a little easier to be a great quarterback. I'm not taking anything away from Troy Aikman, because Troy Aikman is one of the greatest of all time. But I think if you had taken him and put him on a much lesser team, you couldn't take him to those Tampa Bay teams and say he's going to be a Hall of Famer with what Tampa Bay had to work with versus the Cowboys. The best thing you can do is get this thing done, because the price tag is only going to go up. It's all of a sudden reset. You know, Joe Burrow and Lamar Jackson and Justin Herbert, all those guys have got to be partying right now. They got to be partying right now because they know that sucker is still going to keep taking off. That number's just going to go up. And the longer you wait to do it, the more it's going to cost you. Might be able to do it now, and Daks says, okay, you know what? I'll take 45. I'll take 48. And spread it out down the road while you still have time to spread it on. It's an extension onto your existing contract. Because then you can change the numbers. Instead of it being a $24 million hit, you might do like Jalen Hurts, who's got only a $6 million. Then you can go ahead and say, hey, since we're working on Ceedee Lamb's contract right now, Diggs is going to be right behind it. You can get those deals done, team friendly the first year, and you can say, we've got some extra money to play with. We can try and do what we did in the 90s and get rid of the weak spots. Maybe we go out and we get ourselves a Hopkins, or maybe we go out and we get a great offensive guard. Maybe we go out and we get a lights-out defensive lineman. But if you're going to compete and think that you're going to win, guys, you need a lot of talent. You know, when Aaron Rodgers won the Super Bowl, you know, we always talk about Aaron Rodgers as a bad man. Take a look at that roster. Do you know that that Green Bay Packers team, as much credit as Aaron Rodgers gets, had the number 2 defense in football in points? They were number 6 at taking the football away, which gave more opportunities for the quarterback. And you looked at having a young Jordy Nelson, a Donald Driver. You had Greg Jennings, who was over 1,200 yards. He had weapons galore to get him to that Super Bowl and win. And that's what it takes. It ain't easy winning a Super Bowl. The Eagles, they went all in. They got players galore, and they still fell a little bit short. No disrespect to them. They had a hell of a season with the schedule that they had. They beat the teams that were in front of them, except the Cowboys. and the Commanders at one time. It's hard to win a Super Bowl. And the best thing you can do, get Dak done. Now, the good news is, with Ceedee, from what we're hearing is the Cowboys are trying to be done with his contract by May 1st. Trying to make sure he's going to be a Cowboy for life and get it done probably the week after the draft, which would be great. Yeah. Check that off the list. Get that done. Get Diggs crossed off the list. And more than likely, typically what's happened when the Cowboys have gotten one of these deals done, like when they did Zach Martin's originally, they created more cap room from that contract. And if they do that, then we still have more money to work with. Because the good thing is, right now we have $13.1 million. The draft class is only going to take about $4 or $5 million of that money to use. You still have $10 million that's coming from Zeke's contract come June 1st. So that's where you have the money to take care of getting Diggs and getting Ceedee Lamb in there and possibly maybe making another move, especially if you get Dak Prescott done. So that's all I got to say about that. Cowboys, you need to hurry up and get Dak Prescott's deal done before the price keeps going up. Oh, boy. I was going to go back to Waynesboro tomorrow, but I thought I was going to be recharging my batteries this weekend, but ended up doing pulled pork Saturday night for a company that was over yesterday and finishing getting the taxes and stuff done, and going to Pennsylvania today. I still have 3 pieces to finish for one of your fans there for a charity event that's this weekend. So I think I'm going to wait until Wednesday to go down there. That way I can get those done, kind of take it a little bit easier tomorrow, and then go down and have a big push to try and get finished down there. So that's all I got for you guys right now. Just remember to tell the people you love them, because you might not get the chance again. And I love you guys. And hopefully I'll see you tomorrow. Peace out.